Oh, haha, hi. Right, 299 hitting, hopefully. Is it still shambling rounds? Okay, so it looks like shambling rounds are forever our target. Which is funny because they're rare enough that it's like... It takes a while. We're trying to, I mean, I guess every run is setting a record, a personal record. But, you know, we have this tendency to arbitrarily delineate some wins as more valuable than the other, and I think that's what I'm doing right about now. I'm trying to... 300 is not more valuable, or shouldn't be considered more valuable than 299. Cool, the one thing of no use, unless this guy drops a gun. Well, even a heart would have been more useful. Hearts have long-term potential. Ammo does not stick around. I shot that from so far away. Dang. Okay, there's nobody in here. That's good. No chance to mess... Well, let's just roll this into the fireplace before we comment on the impossibility of screwing this up. There we go. So we got a first floor black chest. It's good. It's good. Fuck, dude. This is the first floor with the most unlikely interactable game winners. Just need a single key from anywhere. I can't... I mean, I will open the black chest before I face a boss. There's only, like, 2 weapons I would like the black chest to be. Either the Vulcan cannon or the AK-47. 2 keys for sale? No. There aren't. No, sir, Bob. There are not 2 keys for sale. Alright. Well, that was one path to opening the black chest. Instead of a key, we got another crate of ammo there. Let's just keep it together. Everything's good. As the other chest is a greenie. We're more likely than not going to be fighting this boss with just the Marine's starting weapon. Yeah. We might do cigarettes. Man, this is like the worst one to get to. Well, maybe the thing. This is the most likely to... Yep, that was a terrible positioning right there. That was just terrible. This is the one with like the greatest chance of screw up. For yours truly, me. Not that I think he's the hardest. I think he's the most likely to pin you, though. And the most desirable to kill quickly. Woo! I was nervous about rolling there, so I didn't, and I don't know. I mean, it worked out. God damn, dude. Okay. At least we got some range on this sucker. This Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, okay. Thought I fucked up that jump. Oh, why am I so nervous? I'm like... I think putting that arbitrary 300... making me second guess every possible thing that could go wrong. And you know, that could have gone much wronger. We got the key. Oh. Everything's okay. It was a gun. It was a gun that wouldn't have even really, honestly, helped us. So the green chest that we're not going to get. Just 3 hearts. We can get 5 coolness for the rest of our money. Yeah. No. Let's go ahead and get that. 2, 4, 5. It's kind of stupid to give up all that that armor, but I think we'll be okay on the next floor, which is the only real... Oh man, we should have found the secret and used that there. Not thinking clearly. Where is the secret? Huh. Well, anyway, it wouldn't have mattered, because we can't find it, because it's super well hidden. Ooh, baby. So we got some coolness and some curse. That's good. Curse is money, coolness is other things. Hopefully I won't accidentally hit the cigarettes. If that happens even one time, we'll switch off to something else. But I kind of wasn't looking forward to using the BSG. I want to save that for the next floor. When we're trying to turn in the, what do you call it? The old crest. That just makes those rooms kind of a non-issue. Whoa. I think that what my plan is for this run is to just be ahead of potential damage. God, why do I say anything out loud? Like, the point I was trying to make there is like, just move before I think I could possibly get damaged. And as I was saying that, I of course positioned myself in such a way that damage was unavoidable, essentially. I would really like double vision, and it's never that expensive, but it's more expensive than we currently have, and it's more expensive than we have and a key. Alright. Get him the fuck out of here. And him. I think what I was trying to say, you know, it ended up being extremely self-sabotaging, was my goal is to play this as defensively as possible with like such an aggressive weapon in the KC, which you kind of already have to do. You either go in really quickly or you have to wait until they're between certain moves. And one thing I would like to do that I don't usually do is use their own bullets against them a bit more, instead of always trying to make direct contact. Oh, that's weird. Which direct contact is the greatest amount of damage, it's true. But direct contact is also the greatest amount of risk. Oh, God! Don't talk about how you're not going to take damage. Just stop. So I think the total we need is 72 to get both. it's not looking super impossible, of course. Like all things, if I say that, I'm making it much more likely for us to not hit it. I wish I had anything else to talk about. This run is kind of something I'm fixating on because I really want it to go well. Once I get to the point where I feel like everything's kind of coasting, I'll figure out if there's anything else to talk about. We can hopefully get 4 cent here. And we'll use these cigarettes if there's any armor or health. Maybe not health. We might pick up the health and then use the cigarettes at the end of the floor. Or in the event of getting some other item. Okay, so I do have something I wanted to talk about. Wes Anderson has a new movie coming out called The French Connection or French Directive or something like that. It's a newspaper movie. It's very, very Wes Anderson. It's got all of his regulars, I think. Maybe not the Wilson twins. I don't know if they're twins. The Wilson brothers. I think it has Tilda Swinton and definitely has Bill Murray. There's somebody named Timothy Schmallet. That's also a part of it. And it's... I really like going to work and knowing who I'm going to be working with, right? Like, that's something that to me is very ideal. Like, I like knowing their work ethic, their work style, all of that kind of stuff before I get into work. As a director, you have to constantly work with new people. You can't, you can have familiars or your regular recurring staff or whatever, but a lot of the time you have to keep bringing in new people so that your movies don't seem like, not necessarily favoritism, because who cares about that, but they don't seem flat. They don't seem like the same thing every time. And that to me would be incredibly frustrating, to know that every time you start a new project, a big portion of the deciding and planning of the project has to be like finding new people to work with. Oh. Okay. So that's it for cigarettes. We got 6 coolness. Buy the key first. Just don't risk it. Jeez. And we're going to destroy all 3 of these green chests, which they could be extremely useful for this run, but we're not going to know. We'll never know about that. Yeah, like, I don't know who Timothy Chalamet or whatever. I don't know who that is. And it's like, man, I thought I knew who was going to be in every Wes Anderson movie, because it's the same cast. However, I will say the first thing I thought when I saw that Wes Anderson was making a new movie was, this seems so much like a Wes Anderson movie, down to the cast. So I get it. You don't want to be one note, and that unfortunately does include casting decisions and stuff. You have to keep continually being as fresh as possible, and unfortunately that means not working with your favorites every single time, which I think is I don't know, it's got to feel kind of unfair. Like, you know that the best person for this role is person X or whatever. You know, you envisioned it. It's like, you know, they made all those characters for Phil Hartman to play in the, oh my lord, in The Simpsons. Or, you know, and they wrote new characters for him for Futurama, basically. He was supposed to be Zap Brannigan, and I'm sure they would have filled him in other roles. And Billy West did a great job. I mean, he's incredible. But you can feel that every line is kind of like, it's exuding that Phil Hartman energy. And, okay, we made it. And it's kind of like, it's got to be frustrating. You know, the Phil Hartman thing is much more tragic than he didn't get to work with, Matt Groening didn't get to work with his friends. But it's like, I think about it sometimes when, like, you write a character to be delivered a certain way, and then everyone's like, stop using those same characters, stop using those same actors. Like I kind of wonder if the casting director for Wes Anderson movies has the easiest job in the world. Like, and for Christopher Nolan movies, etc. Like, is their job basically to just call up those same 4 people and be like, hey, so he's doing another thing, you free? Like, I don't know, but it's like, it's really nice. Like, I would do the same thing as a director. I'd find a group of people that I collaborated with because, you know, Scorsese does the same thing. He's rehashing the same 10 people performances as often as he possibly can. Okay, so we're not going to be using this one, except for maybe right there. There we go. Oh boy, why is it getting all jittery and framey? There's something to be said about, like, oh god, about having a team that understands your vision to the degree that you understand your vision. And I think the best way to do that is work with people who learn you. You learn them and they learn you, and it becomes like a much easier collaborative event. It's not like, I don't know, it's not starting from scratch each time. And, like, I know that movies are like huge budgets, a lot of jobs, a lot of, like, people working together to make this one thing come true. But you probably want as many people as to be as familiar to you as possible, right? As a director, as a screenplay writer or whatever. I'm sure that, like, it's always it's always easier, unless you're the difficult one. I mean, even still, if you're the difficult one, it's always easier to work with a crew that knows your expectations and can function within them to some degree, you know? Huh. That's weird. Well, that sucks. Dang. This run is feeling real weird. Two more green chests. I know what I'm doing. I mean, I hope. Okay, I don't. I know that that was not the smartest approach necessarily, but sometimes you gotta go with your gut, and sometimes you end up getting the machine pistol as a pity prize. Sometimes you got 3 junk at the end of the 2nd floor. Dang it. I'm a little nervous about the old king fight. I don't think we're gonna die, but I think we're gonna definitely take some freaking damage. I don't think this is gonna be buttery, eggish levels of smoothness. One day after 3+ years of talking on stream, I'll figure out how to do it. Jaggie's in the other room making a table. So that's what she does with her days off. She's been wanting a project. Jackie has not. She hasn't had a day off from work where we stayed in town, where she didn't in some way adjust or improve or change the layout of the house to some degree. We have this shelf in the kitchen that we use to for pots and pans. It's not the best shelf in the world. She is replacing it with a table with a cutting board surface, so we can just use it directly as a cutting board if we end up wanting to do that. We have like a bunch of cutting boards, and they're a lot easier to wash than a table necessarily is. But it's cool. She's doing her thing. It's kind of like expected. If she has a day off, there's going to be some. She's going to reorganize the paintings, or she's going to place a mirror in a different room or whatever. It's like it would be. It would upset me if like I gave a shit about like. Okay, I think that's casting myself in a bad light there. It would be upsetting if I was attached to a certain layout. Really, for me, the only thing that matters in the way the house is laid out is like I know where my stuff is, and she does a pretty good job of, at least at this point, of not moving my stuff around too much. That's why it's kind of relegated to my office. And why was that guy so invincible? To my office and my section of the bedroom. I don't care. I'm not one of those people that gets upset about that kind of stuff too much. So it's actually kind of nice, but you might hear some some sawing or drilling. She's doing a little bit of both. I was taking a poop in the room right next to her studio, and it was just like, it felt like teeth in a rock tumbler. I don't know why, but that's like the best description. Like not rocks in a rock tumbler, like teeth. It felt very specifically tooth-esque. Dentel, Washington. Okay, we'll use this. And I guess this. Like when we can get close enough, this one does some incredible damage. Doubled at least. Does pretty decent damage. Undoubled. Not quite so amazing, and it's a little inaccurate, doesn't have much range, etc., etc. That was the craziest dodge of all time. Oh yeah, oh man, I looked up at chat like a dummy and got hit. I've been playing this game since the day it was released. Yikes. Still getting hit like a good amount on this guy. How long have you been playing for? Whoa! God, that was scary. Kind of a tight squeeze there. Alan Koo. No, that was on me. I'm the one playing the game. I know where I should be keeping my eyes focused. So gives us one more curse. I'm the one looking away from the screen in the middle of a firefight. I've been streaming this game for almost 3 years now, so if I haven't figured out when to look at the screen and when not to, then I don't know. There's no forgiveness for that inability. Dude, stop giving me jam curse stuff. I'm playing a week. Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. You're barely touching the surface, the Microsoft Surface. Exactly. Hey, thanks for the follow. Super appreciate it. Yeah, I think so on my PC version of the game. Let's just pull up Steam. 1,700 hours. I play this game too much. I also have it on the Switch. I've also played versions of it with friends on their systems. This is my most played non-online game. So it's kind of, it's like an obsession, you know? It's like dangerous levels of obsessiveness with this game. Ooh! I thought that was just going to be money, but it's actually Megan's hand. And some keys. That's so wonderful. Yeah, oh my god. This is starting to turn around very quickly. Yeah, I would recommend playing it on the PC. I think the lowest quality version of this on PC runs better than it does on the Switch. Not that I mean, I played the hell out of it on the Switch. I'm not saying that it's not worth it, but the game just runs so much more smoothly on the PC. Yes. Okay, so I got 3 tips. 1, spend a lot of time on the first floors. Even if you die a lot, just learn enemy patterns. The later patterns that enemies use, for the most part, are advanced versions of the patterns that early enemies give you, or early enemies display. So just keep doing the first floors over and over. Trying to rush forward kind of gets overwhelming. Once you unlock the elevator guy and you can start kind of skipping to floors, then I think it's okay to start on those floors. You'll start on those floors with next to nothing in terms of items, and that actually gives you the greatest challenge. You don't want to play characters that are that you feel you have an easier time with, because that tends to make the game feel you don't learn to overcome the challenges that way. But if you're just looking for a fun way to waste some time, do absolutely whatever you want and just have fun with it. It's a game that's meant to be challenging, but once you pass a certain threshold, you start to once you understand the certain items well enough, you understand the patterns of certain enemies well enough, it all kind of falls into place, and you start thinking about the meta game. You start thinking about well, if I have this item, I'm likely to get this thing, and that'll give me a greater opportunity to handle these situations or whatever. It's there's so many little things, like curse, for instance. When I first started this game, I avoided items with curse, like the plague. Curse as an actual pretty powerful benefit. Jammed enemies drop more money, and more money gives you the greater ability to make choices. this game is more about choosing right than playing right, if that makes sense. Skill can get you pretty far in this game. It's more so than Isaac or some other roguelites where like your items determine everything. I've beaten this game with very, very weak items before, just by playing really well. But more often than not, it's better to make like good calls, to pass up on certain items, to hold certain actives, or to seek certain passes. Like, I'm gonna get this gold amulet because it gives me another blank on every floor. There are like many items, table tech blanks, the owl, elder blank, things like that make it so that I can essentially just walk through rooms and clear the enemies, because the gold amulet does huge damage to everybody in the room. Curse is okay. So certain items, you see they have this black pixelated smoke appearing from them, like the like Casey here. They have different values of curse. Curse, I have a little counter like right there for my curse. I have to multiply everything by 10 because my counter is stupid. But I essentially have 3 curse right now. That means that I'm likely to get jammed enemies, which are enemies that are red and black, and they deal double damage on contact. They have 300% health, and they're more aggressive, meaning they move faster, they shoot more frequently, and they'll just chase you down. Those enemies are really scary, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of other enemies. But those enemies also drop more money. They also usually cursed items are, not always, but usually they're very powerful. Shit, that sucked. Like, I'll show you if another jammed enemy shows up. They're usually very powerful. They're usually rare. And oftentimes they kind of change the game. Like, I have Casey right now, which is an infinite ammo melee weapon that does a ton of damage. It holds 2 curse to kind of counterbalance the power of it. If it didn't have some negative associated with it, it would just be too good. So you really have to learn. Like, I have these things like here. Those are all the cursed items. Anything that you see that has curse that isn't listed there is only +1. +2 for a few things, including Casey, and +2.5. Then you have cursed events, like when you talk to certain people or use certain items, as opposed to just having them, your curse will increase. And once you hit 10 curse, you spawn an enemy called the Lord of the Jammed. He is an unkillable, untargetable enemy that will chase you forever and fire radial shots. And you don't want that to happen. Lord of the Jammed, so you don't want to hit 10 curse. You want to do everything in your power to stay right under 10. You don't, there's 2 thresholds to worry about. 7 curse, bosses can be jammed, meaning they have plus 25% health. All of their attacks deal double damage, and there's less time between each round of attacks, so they move more quickly, they fire more quickly, and they deal double damage, and they're harder to kill. So you don't want to have 7 curse if you want to avoid that. You don't want to have 10 curse if you want to avoid Lord of the Jammed, which is just the freaking worst. It seriously is. I mean, I know some people that do high cursed runs all the time, and they learn to just like incorporate them as a normal aspect of the game. But for me, it's like choosing to flood your own mind, and I don't really know why you would do that if you didn't have to. There's already enough going on in this game. That was a great Treadnought fight. That was an ideal Treadnought fight. Curse has other side effects besides making jammed enemies appears. It also makes it more likely for a chest to have a fuse on it, meaning that if you don't open it in a certain amount of time, it'll explode. It also increases the likelihood of chests being mimics, which I'll show you in a second. Well, I showed you, I guess you saw it in the last floor. Mimic chests attack you when you try to open them, and they waste a key still if you try to open them. The best thing to do is never try to open a chest without shooting it first. It's something that I sometimes forget when a run is going well. But it's a really good practice to use a weak gun, because you can destroy chests. Use a very weak gun. Okay, so that guy in the top left, that little bullet Ken over there, he is jammed. He moves more often. Oh my god. And he would do double damage if I didn't have armor. Armor only takes single damage, so it's kind of a good buffer. This is a fused chest that I got for having 3 curse. It has a limited amount of time. Oh, another amulet. That's amazing. Limited amount of time to open before it just detonates. Yeah, and there's a lot of little things. Like, all that stuff about curse, it's not really worth it to think about when you're playing the game. Just have it kind of running in the background. If you ever wonder why it seems like enemies are getting tougher or something, you can have a reason for understanding it. But for the most part, just learn enemy patterns. Like, the main thing this game does is layer diverse patterns on top of each other. So you're always facing the same enemies throughout, or slight variations on them. Sometimes there are bigger, harder to deal with enemies in regular rooms, but you spend most of your time facing very similar enemies. They just, the way the rooms are set up, they layer different types of enemies so that there's different challenges appearing. Okay, so blue chests are probably pretty valuable. There's also chest quality to worry about. You're likely to get better items from chests of different quality. Ooh, the scrambler is freaking good. Blue chests are the second to worst quality of chest, but... Ooh, that's a mimic. So you see how that guy's opening his mouth right there? I'll go over a little closer. You can kind of see him breathing if you look closely. That is a mimic. So I can save a key by just shooting him. Then you have a little fight. They're kind of aggressive. But you then get the item for free. So mimics are actually helpful. As long as you check every time, they save you keys, which are a pretty precious commodity. Then there's like alternate floors, secret bosses. There's regular secrets, which you should always check for. The shop, alternate shops, dead-end rooms, and treasure rooms are the most likely places to find secrets. You can use any weapon that doesn't have infinite ammo to reveal a secret room by shooting the walls. There will never be anything in front of the wall if there's a secret room, so it'll be exposed like that. Not one here. Maybe one right here. Nope. There wouldn't be one here because there's this barrel in the way. Might be in here? No. Also, you don't want to shoot too many times in the shop because the shopkeeper will kill you. You don't even have to shoot him, you just shoot in the shop in general. And he'll flip out and murder you. And then you won't be able to buy anything for the rest of the game. You can do that in the 4th floor if you want to, but you don't. It's not like Spelunky where you gain the items. You just kind of lose the ability to use shops, so it's not super worth it. Yeah, there's only ever one shop per level, and every shop sells at least one key. But the shopkeeper actually has memory. So you can steal from a shopkeeper if you have an item that makes you invisible or that charms. Ooh, dang, that sucked. You can just straight up rob the shopkeeper. But if you rob him twice, or if you rob him 2 floors in a row... Oh, only one... Yes. Well, yes and no. Certain floors have 2 guaranteed shops, or secret rooms. The Abbey of the True Gun has 2 guaranteed secret rooms. But every other floor only has 1 guaranteed secret room. However, there can be non-guaranteed secret rooms. God damn it. Why am I playing like this? Another thing is you earn less money if you get hit. So it's another reason to avoid taking damage. The enemy in particular that hits you will not drop money, or is much less likely to drop money. So specifically big enemies. There's a special category of enemies that can't be knocked into pits. They're usually larger and they have bigger health pools. And those guys have guaranteed money drops. Yeah, so there's super secret rooms. There are rooms that are very, very rare. The regular secret rooms don't usually have... They're not going to change your game. You know, usually it's a couple consumable items, a blank and a key, or a heart. Sometimes it'll have a chest. There are rarely regular secret rooms that have like 2 to 4 completely unlocked free chests that are extremely unlikely to happen, but can be amazing when they do. And then there are NPC secret rooms where you'll run into like NPCs like the old man or the witches or these other NPCs that just give you rewards for very low cost. And those are going to be much harder to find. I only find them randomly. You can go around every time you play and shoot every single wall in every area to see if there's going to be a secret. That's going to like quadruple your playtime, which I play this game too often to quadruple it. I already increased my playtime by going to pretty much every special room that I can, or every special floor. Woo woo. And there's certain things that you only really learn from playing for a while. Like, you always want to kill these little blue mage or scholar guys first, because what they do is boost the stats of all the other enemies. It's like killing the healer first, basically. Or killing the bard first. They make everybody else stronger, so it's incredibly valuable to take them out quickly. But it's not necessary. Sometimes if your gun is strong enough, you're still one-shotting the enemies, and you have to run through a bunch of enemies to get to that guy. You just kind of wait it out. But typically you want to take out the guy that's making everybody stronger. They also have more health when they're boosted. So yeah. That's full. Okay. This gun right here, the Hyperlight Blaster, it has 12 shots, but if you land those shots, if you don't miss, then you get the ammo back. Or if you have a way to shoot, I have this item in the bottom left-hand corner called Double Vision. If you use that, it'll actually increase the amount of ammo that you have, so it doubles your number of shots. And basically, every time you shoot, it subtracts 1 from your total. But every time you land the 2 shots, it adds 2. So it's a way to increase your total if you make mistakes or whatever. This is a pretty lucky boss for me here. With the guns that I have at the moment. These are usually kind of, they can be kind of tricky because there's 4 of them. But, yeah, it is a fully fleshed out roguelite. It is not surface, it's all substance. This guy you can sell stuff to. I don't need this extra curse on this terrible gun, so that'll put us back down to 20 or 2/10. I have other stuff I could sell, but we'll just see. Yeah, so this guy up here jams enemies, making them deal double damage and all of that. Yeah, that boss, the kill pillars, there's 4 of them. So there's this thing in this game called, there's a DPS cap on bosses. You cannot deal more than a certain amount of damage per second to bosses, because a lot of the bosses, if you can get yourself so powerful that you could take them out in like 3 or 4 hits with the right combination of items. You can still do that huge amount of damage, but you have to pace it out, so you can't shoot it quickly. One shot can be huge, but if you shoot another one, it's going to hit the DPS cap and stop. Oh my god, what a good gun. But when there's a boss that's split into 4, that DPS cap is individual. It's not shared between the different bosses. Watch. Telling me to stand up. So each boss you can deal a shitload of damage to and just rip through them pretty quickly. I don't know what weapons to use. I have like different... There's 2 categories of weapons too. There's room clears. Well, there's 3 categories of weapons in my mind. There's room clears, weapons that have like more ammo, but you can kind of use to get yourself through the regular rooms. Then there are boss killers, which are big damage, low ammo weapons that you don't want to waste on rooms like this. Like this, it would be very wasteful to use something that's going to take out a boss in 20 hits on a room with 20 regular enemies that you're going to, you know, their health bars are so much lower that there's no benefit to using your big shooters, your big damage dealers. So you use the smaller ones for this, that you'll be able to regenerate the ammo on when it comes up. But opinions vary on which one counts as which. There's some people that will use their best weapon in every opportunity just because they want to make sure that they have as much health as possible getting to the bosses. For me, I definitely save... Oh my god. I'd rather have a rougher time getting to the boss and then flawless the boss. Oh no. Than lose it all in regular rooms. That was a little scary. Okay, so we're gonna get broccoli, which is a huge buff, but then Fight Saber. Let's get Fight Saber first. Oh my god, that's such a hard call. Let's get broccoli first. If we get another 96 casings or whatever, we'll get the fight saber. But yeah, then the third type of third type of gun is just like filler. There's some guns in here that are meant to be less than ideal, so that there's a balance. So it's not just, you know, and those are the ones where you're in an easier room or whatever, you just kind of burn through them. So you save ammo for harder rooms. They're trash guns. They're guns that you're not going to care about. Ooh, that was close. Like, some of the best guns for rooms are terrible for bosses and vice versa. Like, guns that auto-aim. Like, this I'm using, the Scrambler. It, on impact, the follow-up shots chase down enemies. You don't really need that on bosses, because bosses are usually pretty big. So the targeting assist is kind of beside the point. It's wasted on them. But, see, this is a secret room. This is what they look like, the wall cracks there. Well, one thing I thought for a long time was that I was getting bad guns. Okay, the Phoenix is terrible, this gun that I just got. But I thought I was getting bad guns all the time. And it turns out that I just wasn't using them right. A lot of these things are situational, and you have to teach yourself to use them. But there's some, like the Makarov, that's just a weak regular gun. There's no learning to use it better. The Phoenix is, I guess it technically could be considered a good gun. Dude, why? Because you can set enemies on fire with it, but you have to get so close to the enemy that it's more dangerous than it's worth. But that's another thing, is the chest quality determines the likelihood of getting a better, more boss-specific gun. Love bow can actually, the charmed bow can actually be very, very useful. So the way that I play is I always have two guns equipped, one favorited, so I'm just switching between the Scrambler and Casey. I have all these other guns that I'm not using currently, that are kind of in reserve. I'll switch them if these run low on ammo, or I feel like this isn't working for the current enemies. But I like to have one gun that I start a room with that either goes in and kills an enemy outright, like that, decreasing the total number of enemies in the room, or something that incapacitates or does damage over time or something like that. Like the charmed bow, you charge that up, go in the room, fire it, charm one enemy, or at least have the opportunity to charm one enemy, then you can ignore that enemy until you're done with the other threats. Yeah, so whatever button you have assigned to pull up your item menu, you hold it down, pick one, scroll over to a second gun, and then when you tap that same button, instead of holding it, it'll just switch between those two, and I think there's actually an option for that. Also, turn screen shake off, or turn it low. Where is it? Well, I don't remember where the thing is for favoriting guns, but, you know, I think you can also do that with mouse and keyboard. It's a little bit trickier, but I use a controller because I've been playing twin stick shooters for a long time, and it just fundamentally makes more sense for them to be played with a controller for me. Oh, and I guess if you're on the Switch, you're probably playing with a controller too. What kind of shot was that? Where? There we go. That's gonna synergize with the hidden tech big shotgun. What the hell? So I have 2 synergies with the big shotgun. The player has table tech shotgun. Table tech shotgun shoots big shotgun bullets when the big shotgun is held. Okay. Big shotgun gun. If the player also has BSG, the big shotgun fires 4 projectiles instead of 3. The player also has an extended roll whilst holding the big shotgun. Not while. Whilst. You gotta use the old English. Synergies are a really, really cool thing that weren't officially in the game until one of the previous expansions. So I still don't have them all internalized. I have a lot of them in the old memory banks, but not all of them. Full, huh? Full, huh? I have the ammo synthesizer. That's what's giving me ammo back in some of these. No, yeah, I do have the ammo synthesizer. Let's see how big these big shotgun. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. Alright, let's just check and make sure that this is not a mimic. It is not. Helix bullets. That's going to be amazing. Helix bullets basically are double the number of shots. Not good for shotguns so much because they swivel like DNA, but good for a lot of other guns. They don't do double the damage, but they do more than single damage. So I'm actually shooting too fast. Or I'm dealing damage too fast. I'm hitting the DPS count. Which is something you want to avoid. But I'm working with a gun that won't lose ammo. So it makes more sense to just kind of go crazy. This was such a mind flood the first time I came across it. Gonna have to do it again. Don't have quite the damage that I was hoping for at this point, but I'm not gonna be able to get the fight saber, I just realized. That's okay. And that, my friends, is how you get a lead god. So lead god is when you get all 5 of the master rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That entails flawlessing all the bosses on the way there. Smiley's revolver is discounted shops at price. Discounted prices at shops. Would have been cool if I had somehow been able to get it for free. Fight saber is really cool because when it reloads, it deflects bullets. It also, I believe, has 2 curse. Yeah. Oh, that's spelled wrong. Hold on. I gotta fix that. Oh, it's a picture. Well, we're just gonna have fight saber spelled wrong. Dang. Not gonna be able to fix that right now. So let's just get more armor. And what... Do I have anything that needs more ammo? There's no reason to take money with you into bullet hell. This is technically the end of a regular run. You fight the dragon. And until... I don't know how much you want spoiled of this game, but we're about to get into spoiler territory. So please say... I'll pause right here before going forward. And you let me know if spoilers are okay or are a problem. Because what's coming up is spoilers. It's a roguelite, so spoilers are... It's not like a very story-driven game. So each character has a past that you're trying to kill, and if you go up here, you will get the gun that kills the past. You have to build the bullet that kills the past over the course of multiple runs. Because the gun by itself won't do it. You need a special magic bullet. But once you've killed the past of 4 of the characters, I think it's usually the 4 primary Gungeoneers, you open up bullet hell, which is a secret alternate exit, and my streak, that current streak is beating bullet hell, the challenge level, the 6th chamber, at the end of it. It's killing the Lich at the end of bullet hell is the only thing that really matters for the run the way that I do it. And I have like 1 or 2 really overpowered guns, so it's gonna probably go pretty quickly here. But just remember that if you get to bullet hell, this place is extremely difficult. Yeah, I'm going... The world record right now is 420, held by Barb TV. He could easily continue that. He didn't lose at 420, he just stopped. Because he'd already like cemented... Wow, that was so stupid. He cemented his place as the world champion for regular streaks. And I think everybody feels pretty comfortable saying he's like the best at this game in terms of regular streaking. He's not necessarily the best at like speed running. That's still in contention. But he's definitely the best when it comes to streaking. Oh my god, the regular game. Yeah, he just let it hang there. So if I get close to 420, I'm shooting for 421. We'll see how that goes. But if I get close to 420, it's probably, he's probably gonna get on and increase his record to 500 or something, or just keep going until he loses. But I still think that he's a much better Gungeon player than I am. The game has gotten a little bit easier. They added synergies. They added a lot of stuff that really kind of hyper-powers the player that wasn't available in the game day one. And the streak I got with the lower... without all the synergies added and the new weapons and all that stuff is the 148 that I have up there from before. I also was including the robot in my streaking back then. So he's got a more, like, I don't want to say honest, like I have a dishonest streak, but he's got a bigger accomplishment. Like, well, I do one a day. I post one video to my YouTube channel every day. I don't know, sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 in a day. But I just post essentially the equivalent of 1 per day. which is another reason that I think other people could beat my record pretty easily. Is I'm not trying to do this quickly, I'm trying to do it consistently. So 365 will be a year of not losing if I get there. Whoa, what am I doing? Yeah, he's able to do like many runs in a row. He goes quickly. He just goes until he feels like he has a win, and then he wins. I kind of try to maximize every run, which ends up taking a lot longer. I go to every optional floor that I can. But yeah. Different approaches. Again, I'm not really trying to prove that I'm the best at anything in this game. This is just a game that I really love to play. And it's pretty easy to put a video up every day. Just like an hour or so. Oh, fuck. Why am I not charging this on my way in? I'm getting hit this late in the game is stupid. Appreciate that. It's just something I'm kind of doing for fun. Alright, so we're at the end of bullet hell. Still got 9 shots on that. Let's go get our health back. Do we go the right way every time? No. But the right way almost every time. I don't really know what I want to use. I'm not sure how good this is going to... Oh, it works perfectly well. That's amazing. One of the things that I also do is I try to flawless every boss that I can. I have like I'll show you at the end of the run, but I have little images for each of the bosses. If I manage to flawless all 5 normal bosses, I get the Lead God. If I flawless the Lich here, I get the LF, the Lich Flawless. The Old King gets an FOK for the flawless of the Old King. So I'm not just trying, like, I could kind of, with the amount of health that I have right now, I could kind of just stand in one place, let him hit me, and still get a win. But I don't want to be, like, complacent. I want to win with as much done right as possible. About to finish the Lich, it'll be just 1 second. Yeah, right at the end. Can you just tell me in, like, 5 minutes? Okay. We'll be done in a very, very quick second. This is my wife popping in, looking for screws, and no, that's not a euphemism or anything. Yikes! Whew, that was close. And that is a Lich Flawless. Okay, baby, come in. That's a Lich Flawless. We managed to flawless him. And that puts us at 300. It's also what? Video number 851. Since I started recording these every day. Jackie! Jackie? Oh, it's good stuff. So yeah, those are the other Yeah, their little animations, the Old King Flawless. Punch out win for when you fight the rat and win the punch out fight. And then I got this guy in case you get junkin', because he's kind of a hidden superhero in the game. But that's the Gungeon.